Thank you, Chair, and I'm really happy to have the what I call the varsity squad, the A squad here today with us. No shade to anybody else, but I really have worked with all of you closely on many different capital projects in my district, so I just want to say thank you so much. Don't worry, Sam, I'm coming to you about the O'Donnell School in my second round, but I'll start with streets and climate infrastructure first, and then if we can get to parks and open space, I will. But I want to shout out Carrie specifically for just being an all-star. If you can tell us how to replicate like 10 of you, that would be great. That would be amazing for the city of Boston, so just thank you. We have incredible investments in our city, libraries, community centers, pools. Thank you for the Clarity Pool, really and truly. That's, I can't wait for that opening on July 1st, right? Perfect, okay. July 1st, opening of the Clarity Pool. Do you see what I did? I built it up just to ask you. Yeah, okay. So we love the nuts and bolts of District 1. Our streets are very important to me and residents. We are a highly walkable district. And so we get calls every single day of folks that are walking around. We have 2 million tourists that go through the North End within 2 months, and so our streets do take a hit quite a lot. And so I think for me, a top concern of mine and priority is just more money into repairing and maintaining streets. We have a lot of utility work that is happening, and so the subpar quality of work is manifesting, and folks are noticing. And so I understand that it takes 2-3 years to go back and repave it. And so my question is, what are the investments that we're making into our streets? How has that line item increased? And generally, do we have a goal of how many miles per streets or sidewalks that we are trying to repave or maintain per year? Are we meeting that goal, if we even have one? So I'll put that to the chair.
Happy to speak to that, and I appreciate the focus on the streets and the sidewalks. This is the infrastructure everyone relies on every day, no matter how they travel. And so we are, in this capital budget, I'm happy to say, substantially increasing investment in state of good repair work. Our sidewalks are seeing more than a doubling of funding for FY25. And I believe the number in total for sidewalk and ramp work in FY25 is almost $43 million. And roadway resurfacing is increasing approximately 67%, so a significant increase as well. I want to just acknowledge someone in the gallery, Deputy Chief of Streets for Infrastructure and Design, Julia Campbell, who joined the city last year. One of the things that she has been spending a lot of time working on with her team is how we can get better at doing more, both increasing our capacity to do the volume of work that we know is needed on city streets and sidewalks, and to make sure that we're doing a more robust job of planning out that work proactively, targeting the areas with the highest needs, some of which are in your district, Councilor, and communicating effectively with our constituents about where we're making investments and how we're doing those. So we are going to be rolling out some new content online that will have a preview of our next 2 years of sidewalk programs as well as our streets programs in the coming weeks, so you can look for that. The last
Will
piece.
Will that be ready? I'm sorry, that website?
I think in the next few weeks, a month or so. All right. I'm getting. Nobody's giving me too scared face when I say that. So that should be ready soon, and that will be reflective of what's going on this construction season, and in the case of the sidewalks and ramps next year. The other thing I want to mention is that we are doing some work around utility accountability with our construction management and oversight team. One of the challenges that, as you correctly identified, the volume of work that cuts into our streets and sometimes our sidewalks is enormous, and there's highly variable quality of repairs, and so we are working to try to ensure the utilities are doing a better job of fixing what they break.
Thank you. That actually, I wasn't going to ask this, but you just reminded me of this. So do we have a list of contractors, subcontractors that are just awful? Because I could tell you a list of folks, and just based on complaints and quality of work, like, is there a list that you look at, and when we're trying to work with Boston Water and Sewer or whatever utility company, are we hesitant to work with them? Because some of the work that's being done in East Boston, I can name streets for you, is just really bad.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly take into account past performance with our own contractors when we are hiring people. Any of our construction inspection team could tell you who does good work and who does not. I will say sometimes it's variable, though, even with a single company. You know, one foreperson might be more diligent than another, so there is a fairly high degree of variability. Part of the utility accountability is having that closer oversight, catching things when they don't go right, following up not just with the construction companies, but with the utilities that are employing them, so they know that we're watching their contractors and feel a sense of responsibility to get in front of that and try to address those issues before we spot them and complain to them. So we are trying to increase that level of accountability across the board.
Thank you. I love hearing that, and thank you for your work. I do think that there's an opportunity to bring in green infrastructure, as you mentioned, so really grateful for that. The flex posts for Vision Zero, they've now turned gray or brown and are no longer existent because of people backing into them. So why not use this opportunity to build rain gardens or permeable spaces? And so just thinking about that, I know Julia and Nick are also thinking of that, so putting that out there. I also just want to say, because we had heard from so many people in the North End of the times that they have fallen because of the sidewalk, we reached out to North End Waterfront Health to get the numbers, and it turns out that it was 72 patients across 112 falls that they've seen. So just quantifying that for you and just pushing that out there, that the North End needs some love when it comes to the sidewalks. For climate infrastructure, I don't know how much time I have, Chair.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. All right, climate infrastructure. So $75 million in the capital plan is being utilized with state and federal resources to build a resilient coastline. Shout out to Chris Osgood and Catherine McClandless for going after FEMA and NOAA grants and USDOT dollars from the infrastructure bill. I would love a breakdown of how much of this $75 million is actual city dollars and where they are going. The city owns about 16% of all 47 miles of the coastline, and so I want us to demonstrate how quickly we can move on this issue to fortify our coastline. The state owns about 50, private actors own about 30%, and so as we're in the infancy stages of talking about things like a waterfront business improvement district, I want to show that the city is moving quickly on this and investing X amount of dollars into climate infrastructure to fortify our coastline. So of that $75 million, how much of that is actually city money?
That is all city money.
All, okay. And then in addition, we're going after these NOAA grants.
Correct. Yep, exactly.
Beautiful. Okay. Do we have a breakdown of where those are
We
going?
can follow up with that information.
Okay, great. Parks and open space, very quickly. Shout out to Commissioner Woods, who is very responsive. Thank you for your work. Shout out to Bill Masterson of Tree Eastie, who is the unofficial tree commissioner of East Boston. He has illuminated bottlenecks within the approval system of identifying city blocks that could be dug up, and then because of his volunteer time, planting them and watering them. Has there been any work to break down some of these barriers or bottlenecks between Public Works and the Parks Department to plant trees faster?
I think we've added capacity to our staff, which helps us get to it a lot quicker. I think a lot of the bottlenecks is when a city agency tries to do it versus a constituent tries to do it, just because of digging up into sidewalks and things of that. There's different, so those will still be in place because it's a lot different for a constituent to try to get permission to dig up a sidewalk and excavate versus, you know, working hand in hand. But I think capacity has definitely grown, so we're seeing things get planted faster. We were planting 1,200 street trees, we're now up to 2,000 street trees, so we're continuing to grow. We also have a website that's online currently that shows you everything that was planted in 21, 22, and 23, and where all current vacant tree pits exist, so you can follow it and see where the plantings are happening all over the city.
Great, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Councilor Coletta. Councilor Santana, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the